I know it's been a while. Um, and to be quite frank, life happened. It just did. Finances came up. I had to work more hours. Also, the content I do requires editing. So quite frankly, for a, YouTuber who has like no fucking money and isn't being paid from the platform, had to work smarter. So I decided to take a small break, focus on some other things. And here we are. You're probably wondering, why am I dressed up like a black sheep? What's going on, Phoebes? Well, I'm here to tell you. So this morning, I was watching a video by somebody of the name of Jamari. His videos come up on my timeline sometimes, so I watch. And he was talking about the downfall of IDubbz and bitch. Let's just get it right. We got the Self Implosion of IDubbz's Career by Jamari. Now, let me just give you some backstory as to why I even give a fuck about IDubbz. Hello? Like, girl, why would you even care? Well, first things first. So, if you guys are unaware, I am 26 years old and it's 2023 now. So, I first started using YouTube in the year 2009. 2009, I was about sixth grade or so. And most of the videos back then were basic shit like skits, music video parodies. That was big for me. And just music overall, along with how to videos and things like that. I would say that maybe after the year 2010, 2011, actual content creators started coming to the platform. And this sort of made the change where now you have channels that have a personality or a person who is running the channel, and they have multiple shows under said channel, and it more so acts as an entity than just a person uploading videos and having a good time. Yeah. This was right before the capitalistic hellscape that became YouTube today. Please like and subscribe. So yeah, during this dawn of YouTube creators, some of the biggest creators on the platform now, honestly, started at this time. Like, your Doug Walkers, your Angry Joes, PewDiePie, Jeffree Star, Jackie Aina, these are just some YouTubers that started out that way. I said all this to say that during that time, that era of 2010 to about 2016, 17 YouTube was hell. It was fucking hellish. If you were a person who happened to be not a person of color, or not be disabled, or not have mental disabilities, or be, anything that's not cis, white, and hetero. Sorry to say that. You were just getting a barrage of jokes thrown at that ass. And you just had to deal with it. Like, God forbid you were a fucking black person on YouTube 2010 and 2016. You were the butt of every fucking joke. Like, every fucking joke was just the N word. So this was not a fun time to be on YouTube, especially during my formative years of being a teenager, growing up, and trying to find out my self-identity. And this was also a time where, even though there were some black creators on YouTube, of course, there just weren't that many, and they sure as fuck weren't being pushed. They're barely pushed now, but they definitely weren't being pushed then. So, oh yeah, Shane Dawson too, duh. Think of the era of the Shane Dawson blackface videos. Freaking PewDiePie saying the N-word and shit. Fucking H3H3 and who is that Keemstar in them, having these racist rant videos calling people the N-word and a bunch of other weird stuff. If I have clips of this, I will just show it as I'm mentioning it. Righteous fucking nigga. It was not a fun time to be on YouTube. And one of the biggest creators, part of this wave, was IDubbz. And he is the subject of our video today. So, if you don't know who IDubbz is, you're a lucky son of a bitch, and I am jealous of you, okay? Because, unfortunately, I do. And, I don't like him very much, to be fair. Now, he was a content creator that had his own channel and had a show actually, well, one of many shows, but his most popular show was Content Cop. This was a show where he would kind of do deep dives, so to say, on certain content creators and would, look up all the dirt on them and stuff, and then essentially bring it all to the forefront and say the things that other people weren't saying, so to say. I did not watch this show, so I don't know all the history. There's plenty of videos that go on the breakdown of all the people he's covered. But the big one that I know that I seen and that had me like, what the fuck is wrong with this nigga, was the Tana Mongo one. Tana Monjo. I don't know how to say her name. Tana Mongoose is another content creator of the early 2010s. And basically, a bunch of videos came up of her calling people the N-word, calling her little black friend the N-word and shit. And that, wasn't the best. This came out because she was telling Ian from IDubbz that he shouldn't be saying the N-word. So then he looked that up, posted it, and then showed that, well, how can you say that when you say the N-word? think this would be the end of it? It wasn't. Because then he decides to go to her little meet and greet. And when they're about to take a picture and the camera person says, say cheese or whatever, he decides to say the N word just straight up. No context, no joke, no nothing. This was my first time finding out who this dude was. So forgive me for not looking at him with like rose tinted glasses or thinking he's some like amazing content creator. Because all I see is just a racist person making racist jokes. And I mean, to be fair, you can make racist jokes if you want to, but I mean, make it a real joke with, a beginning, minute, and end, a setup, payoff, not just a word. Yeah, okay. So why are we bringing him up today? Because now he's currently going through it with his fans, and I'm not gonna lie, it's very fascinating. It's fascinating for one that I don't really care about what he does, or I'm not a fan of him, so I don't feel betrayed by him like his current fan base does, for one. And for two, honestly, yeah, like I said, it's very interesting to watch people. This is how I'm interpreting it in my head, being mad at somebody for not continuing to be racist and problematic. They're getting mad at somebody for continuing not to be racist and problematic. I'm like, what's the problem with that? It's even more so funny to me that creators like IDubbz and H3H3 are constantly ridiculed for changing and abandoning their fans and stuff. While they are being canceled for doing said thing, nobody has tried to cancel PewDiePie or Keemstar. And I'm wondering is it because even though they have done problematic ass shit, they never, in a nice way to say it, they never backed down. They stayed 10 toes in it and was like, okay, like they might have did some piss poor ass apology, but everybody knew they didn't mean it. And so their fans were fine with it. Because it's funny to me how IDubbz can be canceled and be seen as like, oh, he's a betrayal, he's not that good, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but what was so great about him? Like, what about his content was so amazing? What did it teach you? How did it help you grow as a person? Why did you look up to it? Like, that is my, like, genuine ass fucking question. Because in all the comments in the dude Jamari's video, they're just talking about how they miss a legend. He was a GOAT. He was one of the best of OG YouTube. And I'm like, what about... Did I miss something? Is being racist really that funny? Is that like the peak of comedy and I'm just not getting the joke because I'm a nigga? Like, tell me. So, today we're going to explore and kind of deep dive into the catharsis of IDubbz's career and how, like, I'm sorry, this is poetic justice to me. As somebody who's never liked him, never liked any of those people, this is poetic justice to me. Because, I mean, I'm about to say a hot take, but I don't think it's a hot take, but it might be a hot take. But, I mean, if you disagree... I mean, you can, but this is just personally how I feel. Once you say the N-word, you're just a racist to me, period. And you always are. And, like, that's your mindset. Because I'm sorry. It's very easy to not say that. You could be racist as fuck and not say the N-word. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for me to go out of your way to say something like that, like, you do it on purpose because you want that little, like, edge boy reaction. And, therefore, you shouldn't be, like, shook when niggas have something to say. Like, this is why I don't like a lot of content creators. Like, no lie, the minute I hear somebody say the N-word, I don't give a fuck. You are, like, canceled to me because it's, like, why? That's why I don't like John Tron and fucking Tom Dark and fucking that annoying fat fuck tipster. And like, oh, I'm going in. All these people, I just really don't like them because I know they don't fuck with black people. So why the fuck would I ever support y'all? Like, quite frankly, with a view, with money. Hello. But yeah, it's just so crazy to see how like their fan bases are truly upset and they haven't done anything wrong. They haven't hurt anyone. They don't give a fuck if they do racist shit, but they definitely didn't do that. It's just the fact that they turned on their fan base and was kind of like, yeah, I don't really want to do this shit anymore and I'm kind of over it. So basically, we're just going to get into this. I know this video is like unhinged and all over the place, but please stay with me. We'll get there. Basically, I'm recording this video to just kind of explain my point of view and overall just how anybody who has this mindset that IDubbz has like changed for the worse or he's a sellout or something is not only just, misinformed and wrong, it's also just inevitable. And it more so speaks to the mindset of his fans, which is the point he made, honestly. So you're kind of proving the point he made. More so to prove the mindset of his fans than him as a person. This is not me defending IDubbz because I don't like him. But it is me saying that Because, I mean, to be fair, I'm not defending him because I don't really believe he's not racist or feels bad about those things or anything like that. He's literally saying it for money. So I'm not defending him in the sense of like, oh, he's a good person and we should support. Fuck that. It's more so the fact that, like, it's just crazy to me that he's getting more criticism for changing and being like, yeah, this shit is whack, than actually doing it or continue to doing it and hurting marginalized communities. So we're just going to get into some main points basically as to why I feel that way. So the point one is that the change was inevitable. So I'm no historian buff. I did not do any fucking research before I recorded this. So if anything is wrong, let me know. But basically, before 2016, it was easy for people, especially people who are not racialized in America, to be what they would call apolitical. In my opinion, everything is politicized from race to gender to like everything is politicized basically. So it's really hard for you to be apolitical. Like it's basically impossible for you to be apolitical. Therefore, when someone personally says they are apolitical, they're literally saying they don't give a fuck about politics and they have the privilege of not having to participate. So with that being said, at the time, YouTube was very apolitical because even though, there were political YouTubers and shit like that, people didn't really care about the president or any laws that were being passed or anything like that because this was just pre-Trump's America. Like, I don't know how to explain it to y'all, but like shit was wild. Like, after Trump came out and the alt-right bad boys, the alt-right rowdy rough boys started, feeling themselves, beating on their chest and shit, that's when it started getting really intense. And basically all the like left-wing, right-wing shit that y'all see today on YouTube started from 2016 because it was just very, very bad. Regardless of Trump's politics or whatever he believed in, the people that looked up to him were violent and were dangerous to minority groups in the US. So when your fan base is like that, kind of like with IDubbz, when you are a certain type of person, you cultivate a certain type of fan base and you cannot escape them because in a way you are indebted to them because they have helped you become mainstream and popular. And that way, they feel like they own you, and you owe them stuff. And you kind of do in a way. So that has to be kept in mind. Basically, during apolitical YouTube, this shit was just everything. Like, and it was really popular because the only people calling people out for being racist and homophobic and stuff were the people of said marginalized group. So like the only people calling out Shane Dawson for blackface, black people. The only people going in on Jeffree Star for saying the N-word to people, black people. Like nobody cared, and basically if it didn't affect them, they weren't going to go out of their way to defend it or anything like that. They just didn't care. That was just kind of the political landscape back then. So it was very easy for IDubbz and freaking PewDiePie and Leafy and H3H3 and Filthy Frank and all these channels to be very edgy, for lack of a better word, for clicks and views. And while for some of these creators being edgy might have been ironic in a way that they didn't really believe what they were saying and stuff, their young ass fans, the ones who were my age and even younger using YouTube at the time, so like Gen Zers, some millennials, etc., believed these jokes, thought they were funny, and like this became part of their ideologies. That's why, especially on the internet and in gaming communities and certain online communities, racism, especially against black people, or like anti-Semitism is just like normal. Like it's just a hee-haw joke. And it's just regular to people. And that's just the culture that has been cultivated because of the creators who were at the forefront of the culture, IDubbz was a part of that group. And quite frankly, that was not going to last forever. It was not always going to be super edgy shit will be fine and people will just be okay with it forever. At some point, whether it be the time it happened or 20 years later, people were going to start feeling away. More people would have access to more technology, more ways to voice their opinions, etc. And then you would eventually be called out for it. You would have to either stick with it or change. Some creators changed, some stuck with it. IDubbz decided I'm a different person and I'm not going to do this kind of stuff anymore. When the sponsorships started dropping out, that's also another thing I forgot to mention. So before, my history might be fucked up because I really don't know that much, but please, if I'm getting anything wrong, just correct me and let me know. But also during that time, the early 2010s, I guess Google wanted to start getting more money, so they started having advertisers put commercials on video. Now, when Google wanted to start getting advertised on YouTube, They noticed that a lot of the content was, for lack of a better word, not family friendly. Even if it wasn't sexual, it was problematic. It was a lot of cursing. Like, that was just kind of the YouTube landscape at the time. Just problematic city was what it was. So advertisers decided they weren't going to want to put their videos, or weren't going to want to put their ads on videos that promoted that kind of thing. So a lot of those creators from that time decided to completely do a 180 and go from very edgy, very problematic, very whatever the fuck, to more mild and being more liberal, and, you know, trying to just basically flipping to the other side of things. Their fan bases did not appreciate this. They did not like it. They hated it, quite frankly. Um, and a lot of their fan bases turned on them. And this is where you get people like the H3H3s and the IDubbz. And I mean, Filthy Frank to a lesser extent, but to be completely honest, that nigga knew he wanted to make music, and like, you scrubs weren't going to bring him down. So he decided to say fuck it and just go completely into music. I'm not going to, completely include Filthy Frank in that, but he is part of that group of people at the time. Shane Dawson too. He started doing his old documentaries and conspiracies and shit. It's because of that. Because of the advertisers. So I said all that to say that them changing was inevitable. They were never always going to be that way. Honestly, if that's part of your mindset for the rest of your life, that speaks more to the problems you have than the creator has. Because your ideals should grow as you get older. And if you're of the mindset that like words don't hurt people, or like people are choosing to be offended to words, I suggest you get out your own ass and read a book or educate yourself. BBC has some wonderful articles on, transatlantic slave trade and shit. And, just open your horizons, because y'all be shocked how much these niggas actually contribute to a lot of the problems today. This is such a rant, but this is a side note, and this is true. Like, y'all don't think that, oh God, I'm gonna be, these opinions are cancelable, but I feel like it has to be said. Nobody's saying it. You don't think a lot of these mass shooters recently in the US, when they mentioned that some of the people they watched on YouTube or looked up to, or people who have said racist, edgy things for fun, they have transformed the minds of a whole generation of kids, boys and girls, theys and thems and whatnots, have transformed a mind of an entire generation of kids, and this group of generation of children, what you saw as jokes, they take seriously. And now that they're turning 18, 19, 20 years old, some of them who are not the most mentally sound are starting to act on these ideologies that they believe you believe, or whatever the fuck. And now it's affecting everybody. So when 10 years ago, people were talking about like, hey, this shit is cool, like it's not funny, it's not just a joke, like it has serious real life repercussions. That's what we're talking about. Like, it affects people. Like, what you post as jokes online, people in real life can take seriously and can fuck with their brain, and they can end up doing actions that you yourself may not even support or alluded to them doing, but they do it anyways. So I'm just saying, inevitable. Point two, he def bought it on himself. You cultivate the fan base that you kind of portray yourself as. So if you portray yourself as somebody who's edgy, who can take jokes, who can say anything to anybody else and expects them to say it to him, like he deadass said, no slurs are bad slurs, they're all the same. Why wouldn't your fan base be somebody who is disrespectful, who calls you slurs, who says jokes all the time, who disrespects you and your freaking girlfriend? Because we're gonna get to that. And overall, when you decided to switch around, they abandoned you and started cussing you out and treating you like shit, and da-da-da-da-da. And now you feel away. But to be quite frank, that's the fan base you cultivated. You made mad videos making fun of people, making fun of kids, like doing the ultimate most. And how would you not expect that to come back to you? Or how you're treated is kind of strange to me. The fans' reaction is unironically ironic. Now, I took some screenshots of some comments because I wanted to really understand, like, where they're coming from. Because in the comments, they make it seem like this man's content was the bee's knees. He was such a good person. Huh? According to the comments, they're talking about how he was a legend, how his his fans are so disappointed in him, how they wish he never turned this way. And I'm just like, what did y'all see in his content that I missed? He's not like, none of his jokes are funny or revolve around anything that's not just edgy all the time. I love me some edgy ass jokes. I have laughed about people dying, like straight up. But I'm just saying that like there should be real jokes, like, and that's not the only thing you should be able to do if you're a comedian, like you say. Also, a lot of his fans bring up his wife doing OnlyFans, and it's like, you're cool with him saying the N word. What does his wife showing her body online make or break, actually? Like, please let me know. Because I don't see the correlation at all. Very confused. Another point, he mentioned he didn't really like his fan base. I mean, we know why. They weren't shit. Because you weren't. And you I mean he still isn't shit. I'm not defending anybody. All y'all can get it, quite frankly. Your fans were fucking trash. He himself is trash. But I just knew that from jump because, saying the N-word isn't a joke to me. So it's really just a surprise to his old fans that he's a sack of shit because, edgy funny, I guess. But to, the rest of the regular world that leaves the house and interacts with others, he wasn't going to get very far doing that. He just was not. Sorry. Now, for the last point, I'm just going to kind of explain the situation that got his fans mad or whatever. So basically, he runs these celebrity boxing matches, and he had one set up for this person named Froggy Fresh and Chris Raygun. Don't know who these niggas are. I mean, I know who Chris Raygun is, but like, who cares? And then basically, the person, Froggy Fresh, was training for this boxing match. He was training with somebody named, almost a Sam Elliott, with Sam Hyde. He is this alt-right white guy. What else do you need to know? Apparently, this dude, Sam Hyde, had called his wife ugly and called her a whore and all this shit for doing OnlyFans. He did not like that. And he straight up said, yeah, I'm just going to cancel the boxing match because you fuck with somebody I don't fuck with. And instead of just calling some shit, I'm just going to cancel the boxing match. And it's just going to is what it's going to be. The petty in me is very much in agreement with this. Like, straight up, not business professional or anything like that. If you say shit about anybody I'm getting with, bitch, I don't fuck with you either. Like, what? And I'm not going to act like I'm cool with you either. Huh? Like, especially if you say you cool with me, but you cool with somebody saying crazy shit about my wife? Nigga, nah, we's done. So I totally get him being like, yeah, fuck that. However, to be completely fair, didn't really mind it the way your fan base was before when they were harassing other people, but now that they're harassing you, it's a problem. So, sir, that's not cute. His fans are now mad about the canceled boxing match, and then some dumbass coon, a black guy, wanted to donate $10K to charity for them to actually fight. Don't know why anybody black is watching IDubbz, but okay. I mean, maybe it doesn't bother people. It bothers me, though. It bothers me because it speaks to something deeper than just a word. It's your literal mindset. Hello? Your mindset. But yes, this is a situation that has brought IDubbz all the smoke, all the controversy, and stuff again, but this time from his fan base. And personally, I'm just sitting here like, shit tastes sweet, don't it, baby? It tastes sweet. It feels good to know that all these people are like low-key getting their comeuppance. It might be super late. My CPU is jacked. It might be super late, but So, yeah, that's it for this video. If you like me talking shit about a random YouTuber, let me know. Other than that, I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye!